When I first cracked open Steve Oliverez's book, I was really struck by like how different his whole approach is to, wealth building. It's not about pinching pennies or playing the stock market. It's about like really challenging all that traditional financial advice.
Yeah, totally. It's so refreshing. He's not your typical financial guru. I mean, he went from broke to millionaire in just a few years, and he did it, without any of those like typical advantages.
Right. No fancy degree, no inheritance. I mean, he even talks about living on like $2 a day at one point. It's a far cry from, sipping champagne on a yacht, which is like what we usually picture when we hear millionaire.
Exactly. And that's what makes his story so interesting, so compelling. He's like living proof that you don't need a trust fund or an MBA, to build wealth.
One of the first things that kind of jumped out at me was his take on compound interest. We always hear about how important it is to start investing early and like let your money grow over time. But Oliverez actually kind of challenges that idea.
He uses this really interesting analogy about a chessboard and rice. So imagine putting 1 grain of rice on the first square, right? Then 2 on the second, 4 on the third, and so on, doubling the amount with each square.
Okay, yeah.
So by the time you get to the last square, you have this like crazy astronomical number of rice grains. It shows how small amounts can grow exponentially over time.
Yeah, that's a powerful image for sure.
Right.
But then here's where Oliverez like kind of flips the script. He argues that while compound interest is great in theory, it mainly benefits people who are like already wealthy. If you're starting with just a little bit of money, it takes forever to see, any significant growth.
Yeah, it's like saying, if you have $1 million, just invest it and watch it grow. Well, duh, that's great advice if you actually have $1 million. Most people don't.
Exactly. So Oliverez says, like, forget about obsessing over saving every penny. If you really want to build wealth, you need to focus on, like, dramatically increasing your income, not just cutting expenses.
And he gives this amazing example from his own life. He was working at this company, right? Had been there for about a year, walked into his boss's office and just like straight up asked for a $150,000 raise.
Wow. Most people would be like terrified to even ask for a raise that big, let alone after, only a year on the job.
Yeah.
But he not only asked, he got it.
Exactly. And it wasn't because he was like lucky or super charming or something. It's because he strategically chose a role that let him like really show his value to the company, very tangibly. He'd made himself indispensable.
So he talks about how he started out as an executive assistant, basically, fetching coffee, making copies. But he wasn't content to just stay there. He was always looking for ways to like contribute more, to take on bigger challenges.
Yeah, and eventually he ended up managing a multi-million-dollar budget, all because he was willing to like go above and beyond to prove his worth.
So for Oliverez, it's not about working harder at your current job. It's more about finding ways to show your value, become so essential, so good that they can't afford to lose you.
Right, and then using that leverage, to negotiate a higher salary, be proactive, take control of your career, rather than just waiting for things to happen.
Now, another area where Oliverez kind of goes against conventional wisdom is his view on debt. We always hear, like, pay off all your debts before you even think about investing. But Oliverez actually has a different perspective.
He actually recommends avoiding debt, like, completely, unless you already have money. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, but his logic is pretty interesting. He argues that if you're already kind of struggling financially, taking on more debt, even for something like investing, can actually make things worse.
It's like digging a deeper hole, even if you're using a fancy shovel.
Right, exactly. He thinks that once you've reached a certain level of like financial stability, then you can start thinking about using, strategic debt, like for real estate or a business or something. But until then, the focus should be on becoming debt-free.
Makes sense. He also has this really intriguing take on who he considers like your friends and foes on the path to wealth.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's not about specific people, but more like institutions and systems. He's super wary of banks, the government, even investors. He thinks they all prioritize their own interests, not yours.
Interesting. And his friends?
Well, there aren't any, really. Oliverez believes in self-reliance. Big time. Yeah. He thinks that you're your own best advocate and that you can't rely on anyone else to build wealth for you.
It's a pretty radical idea, but it does kind of align with his whole philosophy, right? Of taking control of your financial destiny.
Right.
You're not waiting for like handouts or hoping for a lucky break. You're actively creating your own success.
Absolutely. And this kind of leads us to one of his most controversial concepts, OPM. It stands for other people's money.
OPM.
It's a core principle for him. He believes that leveraging OPM is like absolutely essential for building wealth quickly, especially if you're starting with limited resources.
So how does that work in practice?
Okay, so he gives this awesome example about this electronics company that was, they were struggling to afford their advertising. They were spending tons of money, but weren't seeing the results they needed.
Oh, I see.
So they went to the companies that made the electronics, right? And they said, look, we're driving all these sales for you with our ads, but we can't afford to keep running them.
So what happened?
Well, the manufacturers, they saw the value of the advertising and they agreed to chip in and fund the campaigns. So the electronics company was basically using the manufacturer's money to grow their own business.
Wow, that's a clever way to do it.
Right. It's classic OPM, a total win-win scenario. The electronics company gets to keep advertising, the manufacturers get more sales, everyone's happy.
Smart. But how does Oliverez actually use OPM himself?
Well, he takes it to a whole other level with his credit card strategy.
The credit card strategy.
Yeah, this one kind of blew my mind, to be honest.
Yeah.
He used to make $80,000 a year in cash back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, by strategically using his credit cards, maximizing those rewards programs.
Okay, hold on. Before everyone rushes out to max out their credit cards, we got to be clear here. Oliverez had a really deep, expert level understanding of how credit cards work. And he was super disciplined about paying off his balances every month.
Oh, yeah, totally. He wasn't racking up debt. He was basically using the credit card company's money to create passive income for himself. It's unconventional for sure.
It definitely is.
But it shows how, creative thinking and being financially savvy can turn an everyday tool into a serious wealth building strategy.
It really makes you rethink how you use your own credit cards. Now, speaking of unconventional, he also has some interesting views on the stock market, right?
Yeah, he's not a fan of that get-rich-quick mentality. The whole lottery idea that some people have with stocks, they're just hoping for a lucky break.
Instead of, actually focusing on consistent, smart investing.
Exactly. He sees the stock market as a decent tool for long-term growth, for sure, but he's also very realistic about the risks. He doesn't advocate for, day trading or anything like that.
Right.
He believes that for most people, slow and steady wins the race. Focus on diversification and long-term growth.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. When Oliverez starts talking about the dark side of online business.
Oh, yeah. This is where things get juicy. He's not saying he supports these tactics, but he's definitely, pulling back the curtain to show how some people are making a killing online, even if it means bending the rules or breaking them.
So give us an example.
Okay, so one of the craziest stories he shares is about this cell phone company. They ended up going bankrupt after spending tons of money. They even bought up all the Google ad space for the keyword cell phones.
Wow.
It's a good lesson about the excesses and risks of the online world. You can have what looks like a successful business, but if you're not careful, you can burn through cash really fast and go bust.
And he talks about some other pretty eyebrow-raising tactics too, right?
Oh, yeah, using pre-debit cards and fake Facebook accounts to sell stuff that's, banned, or hiring people to, sabotage your competitors online.
It's kind of like a glimpse into this underbelly of the internet, right? Where the rules are different and the stakes are high.
Exactly. It's not pretty, but it's important to know what's out there, even if you don't want to get involved yourself.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Understanding how people are actually making money online, how things really work, can help you protect yourself and make better decisions about your own business.
For sure. It also makes you realize that not everything that glitters is gold. Just because someone is making a lot of money online, it doesn't mean they're doing it the right way.
Amidst all these kind of shady tactics, there's one that Oliverez thinks can be used ethically. Click arbitrage.
Click arbitrage.
Yeah.
So what's that exactly?
It's the art of buying traffic for cheap and then monetizing it at a higher rate.
Yeah.
It sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Let's say you create a website, right? About shoes.
Okay, shoes. Got it.
And you drive traffic to your site, through social media, paid ads, whatever.
Right.
And then whenever someone buys shoes through your website, you make money from ad clicks or affiliate links.
So you're buying traffic at one price and selling it at a higher price. I get it.
Exactly. He tells this great story about talking to this search engine rep. And the guy reveals that mesothelioma is like one of the most expensive keywords to bid on.
Wow.
It just shows you how much money there is in certain keywords because they attract a specific kind of traffic, people who are looking for very specific information.
So if you can figure out those dynamics, you can find a profitable niche and then create a website or content that attracts that valuable traffic.
Right. And it's not just about, shady stuff. Lots of legitimate businesses use click arbitrage.
Oh, for sure.
Think about like social media influencers who get paid to promote products or online news articles that make money from ads.
Makes sense.
It's all click arbitrage. It's about figuring out how to leverage traffic and make money from it. And Oliverez argues that passive income, which is like the goal of click arbitrage, doesn't have to be shady. It's just about finding ethical and sustainable ways to create value for yourself and your audience.
It's about building a business that can make money even when you're not actively working,
Exactly. Freeing up your time to do other things you enjoy.
That's the dream.
Now, we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dives into Steve Oliverez's world. From challenging traditional thinking on compound interest and debt to, the dark side of online business, the potential of click arbitrage. It's clear that Oliverez has a very unique perspective on building wealth.
Yeah, he's definitely not afraid to shake things up. But one thing that really stands out to me is his emphasis on self-reliance, on taking control of your financial future and not being afraid to think differently.
Yeah, that's a message that resonates with a lot of people, I think, especially in today's world.
It's about empowering yourself to create your own success, not waiting for someone else to give it to you.
So as we move into the next part of our deep dive, keep that in mind. Think about how you can apply Oliverez's ideas to your own life, your own goals.
Because as we've seen, there's no one right way to build wealth.
It's about finding what works for you, what aligns with your values, what excites you, and then taking action.
Exactly. And we'll dig deeper into all of that in the next part of our deep dive. One thing that I think makes Oliverez's approach so relatable is how he weaves his personal story into his whole financial philosophy. It's not just some, abstract theory. His advice comes from experience. He's been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not afraid to share some pretty vulnerable moments.
Yeah.
He talks about how his family was evicted from their home when he was a kid and they had to move in with relatives. It definitely puts things in perspective.
Totally. That kind of experience shapes your whole view on wealth and security, right? He saw how quickly things can fall apart, even if you're working hard and doing everything right.
And it's funny because he also talks about how his dad owned this successful Mexican restaurant. For years, family run. The name even came from his grandma. He actually worked there as a kid, bussing tables, making bank on tips.
Sounds kind of idyllic, almost like a classic American dream story. What happened?
Well, a recession hit, the restaurant went under, and just like their financial security was, poof, gone.
It's a good reminder that no matter how hard you work, sometimes, stuff happens. External factors can mess up your plans.
Reminds me of that Mike Tyson quote. Everyone has a plan till they get punched in the face.
Exactly. And Oliverez's story really drives home that need to be resilient. Adaptable, traditional financial advice doesn't always account for those curveballs.
Right. So instead of fixating on saving every penny, Oliverez says focus on boosting your earning power. And he breaks it down into these three groups: debtors, consumers, and creators. Each group faces different challenges on their wealth building journey.
That's a really helpful way to think about it. It's simple, but insightful. Where do you stand financially? What steps do you need to take?
Yeah, totally. So let's start with the debtors. This is the group that's, burdened by debt. They're living paycheck to paycheck, often with a negative net worth. Oliverez doesn't sugarcoat it. For this group, traditional advice about saving and investing, it's practically irrelevant.
It's like telling someone who's drowning to just swim harder.
Right.
They need a life preserver, not a lecture.
Exactly. And he cites some pretty alarming statistics, like nearly 2/3 of Americans have no emergency savings, and 40% don't even have a positive net worth.
Wow. So for debtors, the priority isn't building wealth, it's survival. Getting out of that debt hole, building a stable foundation.
Right. And Oliverez is very blunt. He says for debtors, the answer to almost every financial problem is simple: make more money.
He's not wrong, though, is he?
I mean, he's highlighting the need to shift your focus. Instead of obsessing over budgeting every dollar, look for ways to increase your income.
Yeah, because when you're already struggling to make ends meet, there's only so much you can cut back, right?
You can't cut back on necessities.
Exactly. And he even challenges that whole idea of good debt, like student loans. They're often seen as an investment in your future. But Oliverez points out that even those can become a huge burden if you're not making enough to cover the payments.
Yeah, he makes this kind of unsettling comparison. He compares the student loan system to the subprime mortgage crisis.
Oh, wow.
Lenders profiting from people who can't actually afford the debt.
Yeah.
It's a
provocative analogy for sure. It makes you wonder if those systems are really designed to help people or just to profit off their struggles.
It definitely makes you think twice about, just accepting the idea of good debt.
Yeah.
Be an informed borrower. Understand the long-term consequences before you sign anything.
For sure. Now let's move on to the consumers. These are the folks who have reached, a certain level of financial stability. They have a decent job, a nice house, maybe even a fancy car.
Yeah, the picture of, middle-class success. But Oliverez argues that this group often falls into the trap of lifestyle inflation.
Lifestyle inflation.
Yeah, as their income goes up, so do their expenses.
Oh, I see. They end up with, less in savings than you'd expect?
Right, so that whole keeping up with the Joneses thing, a bigger house, newer car, more extravagant vacations, all to maintain a certain image.
Mm.
And Oliverez warns that this kind of, this mindless spending can be a big obstacle to building real wealth.
He's got a point. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should buy it.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your money, aligning your lifestyle with your long-term goals.
So instead of being a consumer, start thinking like a creator. Yeah, focus on building assets that generate passive income rather than just accumulating more stuff.
Which brings us to Oliverez's ideal, the creators. These are the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the folks who are building businesses, shaping their own financial destiny.
The risk takers, right.
Yeah.
The ones who are embracing new technologies and ideas to create leverage.
And scale their income. Oliverez really believes that becoming a creator is the best path to financial freedom, and he gives you a blueprint for how to make that transition. He emphasizes skills like marketing automation, strategic thinking.
And it's not just theory, right? He talks about how he used his own entrepreneurial skills to land a high-paying job. He didn't have a degree or any formal training. He just had proof that he could hustle.
He encourages people to be strategic with their careers. Job hop if it means gaining experience and boosting your earning potential.
Yeah, you don't have to follow a traditional career path. Create your own opportunities, be proactive, take risks, and always keep learning.
And he has some pretty bold advice when it comes to salary negotiation.
What?
Always ask for more than you think you're worth, and be ready to walk away if the deal isn't right for you.
He even suggests that the best time to look for a new job is when you already have one. You're in a stronger position to negotiate.
Exactly. Know your value. Don't settle.
Oh.
Now, for Oliverez, starting your own business is like the ultimate path to financial independence.
Of course. He's all about entrepreneurship.
Control over your time, your income, your creative vision. It's appealing. He stresses finding a business model that, aligns with your skills and your interests. One that lets you use technology to automate and scale.
And again, he's not just talking the talk. He started his first company with just $6,000 on a credit card.
Wow.
Never hired any full-time employees. And he grew it into a multi-million-dollar business through outsourcing and smart use of technology.
That's pretty impressive, right?
It really shows you what's possible if you're resourceful and you think outside the box.
Now, along with entrepreneurship, Oliverez is a huge fan of passive income.
Passive income.
Yeah, money you earn without actively working for it. It's the holy grail of financial freedom.
Who wouldn't want that? Escape the 9-to-5, create a lifestyle where you're not constantly trading your time for money.
Exactly. And he emphasizes that you don't need a ton of money up front to start generating passive income.
So, how do you do it?
Well, he talks about using credit card rewards to generate tens of thousands of dollars in passive income every year. He also stresses diversifying your income streams.
So you're not reliant on just one source.
Right. Build an empire, as he calls it.
Multiple businesses, investments, all working together. It's an inspiring vision, and it sounds like it's achievable if you follow his unconventional wisdom.
So let's get into some of the specific tactics he recommends for building a successful online business. His mantra is outsourcing, automation, and passive income.
He thinks those three principles are key to creating a business that can basically run itself.
So you can free up your time and energy. First up, Outsourcing Oliverez is all about delegating tasks that you're not good at or that someone else can do more efficiently.
Right. He built his companies using a network of, like, contractors and freelancers. They handled everything from web development to customer service. He never actually hired any full-time employees.
And he makes it clear that outsourcing isn't just about sending jobs overseas. It's about finding the right people for the job no matter where they are and trusting them.
It's about building a team, even if it's a virtual one. And he also offers some really good tips on how to negotiate with vendors and partners to get the best deals.
He's a master negotiator himself. Always pushes for what he wants.
Okay, what about automation?
Automation is huge for him. He's obsessed with streamlining processes and, getting rid of unnecessary tasks.
So using technology to do the heavy lifting makes sense.
He's all about using technology to automate everything, from marketing campaigns to customer support. He talks about setting up automated alerts so he doesn't have to constantly check on things.
So he only gets notified if there's a problem. Otherwise, he can focus on other things.
Or spend time with his family. He even automates things like paying bills and tracking expenses.
Wow, he really takes it to the next level. He's all about that set it and forget it approach.
Build systems that work without you needing to constantly manage them. Okay, and finally, passive income. Oliverez is always on the lookout for ways to earn money without actively working. He's a big fan of affiliate marketing, earning commissions for promoting other people's products.
Makes sense. So you're leveraging other people's work.
Exactly. He's made millions through affiliate marketing, promoting everything from travel packages to software. He recommends joining affiliate networks like Commission Junction and ClickBank.
Those are good ones.
To find products to promote. But he really emphasizes aligning those products with your audience and your own values.
So you're promoting stuff you actually believe in.
Right? Be transparent with your audience and provide real value. Don't just try to sell them something. He also encourages building relationships with the companies you're affiliated with to get access to better deals and marketing materials.
It's all about creating those win-win partnerships.
Exactly. Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about marketing strategies.
Hey.
Oliverez is a huge believer in direct response marketing.
Direct response.
Yeah, it's all about getting customers to take action, right away.
Oh, I see. Unlike those traditional branding campaigns that are more about building awareness over time.
Right. Direct response is all about immediate results.
You can track what's working and then adjust your approach quickly.
Exactly. He talks about the importance of, creating really compelling landing pages.
Yeah.
That are designed to convert visitors into customers.
Yeah, your website has to be set up to, capture leads and drive sales.
Right. And your marketing messages have to be super clear and concise. They have to resonate with your target audience.
So you have to really understand who you're trying to reach.
He also gives tips on how to test different marketing channels, like paid search advertising, social media marketing, to find the best ways to connect with your ideal customers. He's a master of online marketing, and he shares so much valuable knowledge.
It's like having a mentor in your pocket.
Yeah.
Now, what about paid search advertising? That seems like a big one these days.
Yeah, Oliverez knows a lot about that. He used to manage one of the largest Google AdWords accounts in the world.
Wow. He was spending millions of dollars every month on these campaigns.
So he definitely knows what he's talking about. He walks you through the whole process of, creating and managing successful campaigns. Everything from keyword research to ad copywriting to bid management.
It sounds pretty comprehensive.
It is. He
Yeah.
emphasizes understanding your target audience and then writing ads that speak directly to their needs and desires.
So it's not just about throwing money at Google. You have to be strategic.
Exactly. He's a big proponent of data-driven decision-making, constantly testing and refining your campaigns to make sure they're converting and profitable. He also shares advice on how to avoid common mistakes, like bidding on the wrong keywords or creating ads that don't actually convert.
So you're not just wasting money.
Right, you're making smart decisions.
Yeah.
He also offers some insights on display advertising.
Display advertising, those are those banner ads you see all over the internet, right?
Yeah, exactly. He recognizes that display ads can be less targeted than, say, paid search, because you're not necessarily reaching people who are actively searching for what you offer.
Right, they're just browsing. So it's more about getting your brand out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he still thinks display ads can be effective if you use them the right way. He recommends using ad networks like the Google Display Network and Microsoft Advertising to connect with a larger audience. And he stresses the importance of targeting your ads.
All right.
Yeah, you can target by demographics, interests, website content, even past browsing behavior. It's about finding that sweet spot between reach and relevance, Make sure you're showing your ads to the right people.
So you're not just wasting your budget.
And, of course, email marketing is huge.
Yeah.
Oliverez sees it as one of the best ways to build relationships with your customers and get them to buy from you again and again.
Makes sense. Email is such a direct way to communicate with people.
He talks about building email lists with millions of subscribers so he can reach a massive audience with his marketing. And he recommends using services like MailChimp and Constant Contact to manage your list and send out targeted campaigns.
Those are popular choices. And he also talks about segmenting your list, so you can send different messages to different groups of people based on their specific needs.
Right. You don't want to send the same email to everyone. You want to tailor your message. And he suggests using drip marketing.
Drip marketing.
Yeah. It's basically a series of automated emails that go out over time to nurture leads and guide them through your sales process.
It's like having a virtual salesperson working for you 24/7.
Exactly. Now, another cool thing about Oliverez is how much he loves affiliate marketing.
Affiliate marketing. Tell me more.
He sees it as a great way to make money without creating your own products. You're basically promoting other people's products and earning a commission on each sale.
So you're leveraging other people's products and marketing efforts? Sounds pretty smart.
It is. And he's made millions from it, promoting everything from, travel packages to software. He recommends joining those affiliate networks like Commission Junction and ClickBank to find products that you can promote. But again, he emphasizes aligning those products with your audience.
Right. Don't promote something you wouldn't use yourself. Be authentic.
Exactly. And build relationships with those companies. Get access to exclusive offers and marketing materials. Create win-win partnerships that benefit everyone.
Makes sense. Now, what about SEO? Is that still relevant these days?
SEO. Yeah, he definitely talks about that. It's all about getting your website to show up higher in search engine results.
Right. So more people will find your site.
He believes SEO is still a valuable marketing tool, but he cautions against putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Because the rules are always changing, right?
Yeah, the SEO landscape has changed a lot over the years. It's definitely gotten harder to, game the system.
Google is always updating their algorithms to try to show people the most relevant and trustworthy results.
Right. So instead of trying to, trick the search engines, Oliverez recommends focusing on creating high-quality content that people actually want to read.
Content is king.
Exactly. And get backlinks to your site from other reputable websites.
Backlinks?
Yeah, it's like getting votes of confidence from other sites. It tells Google that your site is trustworthy.
Makes sense. And he mentions some tools that can help with SEO, right?
Yeah, he's a big fan of Google Search Console and Google Analytics. You can use those to track your website's performance and see what's working and what's not.
It's all about data, right? You got to know your numbers.
And of course, we can't forget about social media. Oliverez sees social media as a really powerful way to connect with your audience, build relationships, and drive traffic to your website.
Yeah, it's such a huge part of online marketing these days.
He recommends using a mix of different platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn.
To reach different types of people.
Right, because each platform has its own, strengths and weaknesses.
So you got to figure out where your audience hangs out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then create engaging, relevant content and share it consistently. Be social many, provide value, build a community around your brand.
Yeah, you got to give people a reason to follow you.
Right. And you can use social media advertising to, reach even more people, promote your products or services. But always track your results. See what's working and what's not.
Be strategic. Don't just randomly post stuff. Use social media to actually achieve your business goals.
Now, one thing that I think really sets Oliverez apart is that he's not afraid to talk about the dark side of online business.
Dark side.
Yeah, he's willing to, expose those unethical and sometimes even illegal tactics that some people use to make money online.
Oh, like what?
Well, he talks about using fake social media accounts to manipulate search engine rankings and even spread negative rumors about competitors. It's not pretty, but it's out there. And some people are making a lot of money from it.
So it's important to be aware of it, even if you don't want to engage in those tactics yourself.
Exactly. Protect yourself. Monitor your online reputation. Build strong relationships with influencers, and secure your website and social media accounts.
Don't let the bad guys win. Another thing that Oliverez talks about a lot is the importance of finding your niche.
Your niche?
Yeah, like a specific market or audience that you focus on.
He believes it's way easier to succeed online if you're not trying to be everything to everyone.
I can see that. If you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to no one.
Right. So he recommends finding a market that you're passionate about and that has, potential for growth and profitability. Do your research. Understand the needs of your target audience.
And find a group of people who are underserved. Create something that meets their specific needs. That's where the opportunity is.
Exactly. And along with finding your niche, Oliverez stresses the importance of building a personal brand.
A personal brand, isn't that just for, like, celebrities and influencers?
Not anymore. He sees your personal brand as an asset that can help you build trust, attract customers, and achieve your business goals. He talks about how he built his own personal brand by being authentic, transparent, and, providing value to his audience.
So it's about being genuine, right? Not just trying to sell something.
Right. And be consistent with your messaging and your brand identity.
Yeah.
Define your core values, your mission statement, what makes you unique. Be clear about who you are, what you stand for, and what you offer.
It's like building a reputation. You want people to know what to expect from you.
One thing I really like about Oliverez is his storytelling ability. He uses personal anecdotes and experiences to illustrate his points, which makes them more relatable and engaging. He's a natural storyteller, not afraid to be funny, to poke fun at himself.
And even a little bit controversial sometimes.
Right. And his honesty about his successes and his failures, it makes him more credible. He's not preaching from some high horse. He's sharing his journey. And his enthusiasm is contagious. He really believes that anyone can achieve financial freedom if they're willing to put in the work and follow his unconventional wisdom.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways that have resonated with you?
There's a lot to process. But for me, one of the biggest things is the importance of challenging conventional thinking. Like Oliverez is constantly questioning the status quo, looking for better, more creative ways to do things. He's not afraid to, break the rules a little bit, experiment, take risks, and he wants us to do the same.
Yeah, he's a real disruptor, that's for sure. He even talks about, like, his early days as an entrepreneur, back when the internet was like the Wild West.
Oh, yeah, way less regulation back then.
Totally. And he tells this story about this guy who made like millions of dollars by exploiting this loophole in eBay's affiliate program.
Didn't that guy end up going to jail?
He did, yeah. But it's still a crazy example of how people were finding these creative but definitely not ethical ways to make money online.
It's kind of like a history lesson, right, of how the internet has evolved.
Yeah, what worked back then might not work now. And what's considered ethical today might be illegal tomorrow.
It's always changing. So you got to stay informed, adapt, keep learning.
Absolutely. But, even with all that talk of loopholes and risky stuff, Oliverez also makes it clear that there are tons of ethical, sustainable ways to build a business online. It's not all about shortcuts and, taking advantage of people.
Right. He's built successful businesses by focusing on giving his customers real value, building trust, and creating those win-win partnerships.
He sees the internet as a tool to, amplify your skills and your talents, not just to chase quick money.
It's about playing the long game, finding your niche, building a strong brand, creating stuff that actually helps people.
That's how you build something that lasts.
One thing that really stood out to me in his book was the emphasis on mindset.
Mindset.
Yeah, he thinks it's just as important as, your skill set when it comes to being successful online.
Makes sense. Your mindset shapes everything you do.
He talks about how he used to have this scarcity mindset, always focused on what he didn't have, what he couldn't do.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But he learned to shift to an abundance mindset.
Abundance.
Yeah, he realized there are endless opportunities out there for people who are willing to, look for them.
It's about believing in yourself, your abilities, and the potential for success.
Right, and rewiring your thinking to see possibilities instead of limitations.
It's like taking off the blinders.
He also talks about the importance of resilience.
Yeah.
Adaptability, persistence. He's had his share of setbacks and challenges, but he never gave up on his goals.
Yeah, he sees failure as a learning experience, a natural part of the process.
And surrounding yourself with the right people is huge.
Your tribe.
Yeah, positive, supportive people who believe in your vision.
They lift you up when you're down.
Now, it's important to remember that Oliverez's book isn't some magic formula for getting rich quick. He's very clear about that. Building a successful online business takes time, effort, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
It's a journey, not a destination.
He's not promising overnight riches. He's offering a roadmap, a guide for people who are serious about creating a business that's, sustainable and profitable.
He's giving away all his secrets.
Yeah, he's sharing his insights, his strategies, even his mistakes, so we can learn from them and achieve success faster.
It's pretty generous when you think about it.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the unconventional wisdom of Steve Oliverez, we want to leave you with this. If you're feeling stuck, if you're looking for more freedom and control over your life, his book is a real call to action.
It's a reminder to question everything, to think differently, to push yourself outside your comfort zone.
There's no better time than now to take that leap and explore the world of online entrepreneurship.
The possibilities are endless.
The only limits are the ones we set for ourselves.
So true. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this deep dive. What resonated with you? What are you going to do differently? Join the conversation on our website or social media. Until next time.